Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, day after to everybody. And you may or may not have known Richard Hart did a live stream yesterday on Christmas and the day before Christmas Eve. And we learned some new information about the pulsex exchange launching on, of course, Pulse Chain. So I'm going to go through some of the info. I'm more bullish. Before I was kind of on the edge. I'm like, I already got exposure to Pulse. Maybe I'll just buy it on the open market. But Richard dropped some bombs, and now we don't know everything. Again, it's like to get the tokens initially, you're going to have to sacrifice something. So he's not being clear with the details. It's a sacrifice. There's no real solid promises being made, but in terms of token distribution, so we don't know it. We don't know if like the Hex OA or whatever is gonna sacrifice, perhaps not. I'm gonna get into it. But first, I briefly have some intro music for you today.
Every day I get high, I'm a alien, stars in the roof, breaks look like a planetarium. Bitch, I got that drip, I just left out the aquarium. Crypto account, got that Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm not mankind, I'm the fourth kind. The freak look like a UFO on both sides.
Anyway, so we did get the sacrifice phase is going to be similar to Pulse Chain. So we have some info. The trading fees are going to be 0.29% instead of the standard 0.3. There's going to be a 0.06% up out of that 0.29. 0.06 is going to be going to buyback Pulse and burn it. So we already knew pulsex. We already knew pulsex $plsx was going to be. I think we already knew it was going to be deflationary. I'm not sure if we knew it was going to be deflationary. So here's the thing. The plsx is going to be deflationary, and there's going to be a second inflationary token that's going to be used for farming rewards to the liquidity providers. So that's interesting. See, with Hex, we have the inflationary. Then we got Pulse with the deflationary. And then we have pulsex, which has one of each. Crazy, right? So I'll get into some of those details. And there's going to be, out of the 2.29, I keep saying 2.9. Man. There's going to be a 0.01 that goes to somewhere else, probably whoever's, the team behind pulsex is going to be getting 0.01. So that's about 3%, a little over 3% of the total trading fees going to whoever. No expectation of work from others, to be clear. I think that's good. And that makes me think maybe they don't need to sacrifice, whoever doesn't need to sacrifice too much. Like, they don't need to keep too many of the tokens for themselves, the team behind pulsex. Of course, this is a Richard project, so they don't need to. Maybe they don't need to. I'd be fine with some of it, but the thing is, the pulsex deflationary token is going to be a DAO with governance things. I think they're going to be governing basically some of the things going on with the exchange, as well as the inflationary token, which is not yet named. So I think they'll be governing which pairs are incentivized by that token, which will shape the liquidity on the exchange and all that. So, yeah. Or maybe the inflationary token will govern itself, but I'm not sure. That's a little unclear. I think that's what the plsx DAO is for. So that is a little complex to run a DAO, or to just have how a DAO functions. But I do like that because most of these exchanges that do the yield farming rewards are not DAOs. So this is cool. And the token burn is also no admin keys. It's hard coded. So that's also nice. I don't think that's the case with PancakeSwap. And the funny thing is with these numbers, Richard's like, yeah, then standard's 3.3. So we're going to do 0.29. And with the fee burn too, I'm like, what is this? The price was right? Like, what? Anyway, but they didn't. Say, he kind of made it sound like the. So obviously the plsx is constant buyback and burn, so that's gonna, and there's no inflation, so that's gonna be good for the price. You can run the numbers. I think Uniswap has historically in the last year, maybe or so, a little less, has done about $1 billion in volume per day, sometimes even more than Coinbase. So if pulsex was going to be doing that, that would be $600,000 a day being purchased and burned off the market. So that would be really nice for price pressure, depending on what the total supply of plsx is, how many people are selling. But it's a lot of buy pressure. Maybe it only does 100 million for a while. That's still a good amount of money. And the inflationary token, Richard kind of made it sound like it would kind of taper off. Now you may be wondering, there's no buyback there, as far as I know. What gives that token value? And this, like, what incentivizes people to buy that token? Since it is inflating, there should be buy pressure if you're just going to be holding it. And I don't think Richard was super explicit with this, but wow, my laptop screen is bright. Maybe a happy medium. There we go. So I don't, maybe I just missed it, but I don't remember him saying, he said it was maybe going to be tapering off. Now, personally, where I think the value is going to come from is that it's going to be pairs with the inflationary token. It'll be inflationary token. I need to come up with a better name for this video, but it's going to be that one paired with another asset. So if you pair it with Pulse or, Hex, anything like that, which people will want to get into those pools to get more of the token, so they'll have to buy the token to get into the pool to get more of the token. So that's where I see the value of it coming from, is to be able to get into those high reward pools to get some of the yield, inflation, whatever you want to call it. Not exactly interest because it's not loaning, but now I think once if it ever stops inflating, then what's going to give those the value? And that I'm a little unclear about. I mean, the Uniswap token, it has value and it's not really being used in that way, but it's kind of just like brand name. It's kind of, well, Uni's governance rights, and I'm not sure this one will have the governance rights, but so maybe it will just inflate at a steady rate, like Hex 3.69%, and that way it'll always have the same ratio of total amount versus inflation, and it'll always have value. Now, I don't know if that's how it's going to be, but that's how that makes a little more sense to me. When you're in the crypto game, it's good to have critical thinking because, yeah. So I don't really have too many concerns. When I said, like, will the team keep too much? The problem with the team, if someone sacrifices like a ton, then that kind of defeats the purpose of a DAO if the ownership is too centralized. So unlike Hex and Pulse, where they're not DAOs, I don't have as much of a problem with centralized ownership. But with a DAO, it's kind of like, well, yeah. So I can hear Richard, if I made that comment on one of his live streams, being like, are you concerned? What? Ban. No. So yeah, I'm bullish. I'm not 100% sure how much or if I'm going to sacrifice, but that might start soon, week or two, and New Year 2022. And hope he did give an estimate for Pulse Chain. I mean, this is a very loose estimate. He said maybe 2 months, but that highly variable and no promises made. So maybe we're 2 months away. I wouldn't see us being much before that, since he quoted that number, maybe at or after. Who knows? So that was new, fresh time estimate. And also the pulsex, there's going to be a bot that harvests the liquidity from the other AMMs, Uniswap, Sushi, and brings it over to pulsex. So there's going to be some initial liquidity, probably paired with Pulse. So yeah, so there's going to be liquidity right away. As soon as we get the bridge, they'll probably incentivize. We'll see what gets incentivized, but the PRC, ERC pairs, of course, Hex and Pulse pairs, the inflationary token pairs, and yeah, I think that's most of what there is to it. Um, I like the lack of admin keys, the DAO structure, the good amount of burning. I like I like that they're taking a point that someone, the founders, whoever, is taking that .01 trading fee, percent trading fee, because that gives them incentive to make sure the website is running good, maybe some marketing, maybe just kick back to themselves for the work they put into it, but it gives them incentive to um, help the project succeed, whether that be making code or just general social media, whatever. So overall, I'm pretty bullish, guys. Yeah. If there's any comments you have. Oh, by the way, since you stuck around, tomorrow from the guy that made this, my buddy Brian, he is. I should be getting in the mail a hex pendant thing like this, but a bit bigger. It's like got a stone in the center. He likes this stuff. So, and it's nice hex silver wire wrap. So I may make a special video. I almost delayed making this video because I wanted to wait for it, but I was like, I feel like making a video. So maybe I'll make a special video, or if not, I'll just have it in my next video and I'll show it off. You could actually check out a sneak preview of it that he sent me a picture of on my Twitter, which my name currently I'm probably gonna change this, but it's Hex Viagra at Masshole Crypto, because Massachusetts represent Wicked Had. Alright, peace.